Okay, if you're a creative, you know this feeling. You are deep in the zone. The ideas are just firing, you grab your brush in Photoshop and, it lags. That tiny, infuriating delay can just completely shatter your focus. Well, guess what? In this explainer, we're not just going to complain about it, we're diving into the permanent fix that's going to give your aging PC a brand new lease on life. And isn't that the truth? That brush lag, that little stutter when you're trying to lay down a perfect line, it's not just some technical glitch. No, it's a creative roadblock. It yanks you right out of your work and forces you to think about the tool, not the art. It is so frustrating, and it absolutely kills that creative flow we're all chasing.
So what is actually going on under the hood here? Well, the heart of the issue is really a clash of generations. Adobe has been packing its software with these incredible AI-powered features like generative fill and neural filters, which is awesome. But these features are seriously resource-hungry, and they're clashing hard with hardware that just hasn't kept up, especially systems still rocking 8 GB of RAM.
This slide, this right here, gets to the heart of it. That lag you feel, it's the symptom of a processing queue. See, when you make a brushstroke, your computer has to register the input, calculate the entire path, all the pixel data, and then draw it on the screen. If your CPU is busy doing other stuff, your brushstroke basically has to get in line and wait its turn. That tiny pause is the lag, and it's a bottleneck that literally puts your creativity on hold.
To really get this, we have to look at what's happening inside your machine. It's not just Photoshop running, right? It's a constant battle for resources. It's basically a war for your CPU's attention. And on an 8 GB system, let's be honest, Photoshop is often losing that war before it even gets started.
This chart spells it out perfectly. Your 8 gigs of RAM, it's not all for you. Windows itself can gobble up like 3.5 gigs just to exist. Then you add a web browser, maybe a music app, and boom, there goes another gig and a half. All of a sudden, Photoshop, the program you actually care about, is left with less than 3 GB to work with. And when it runs out of that super fast RAM, it's forced to use your hard drive as a scratch disk, which is just dramatically slower and the cause of all those major slowdowns.
So how do we fight back? Well, the answer is in this concept called CPU priority. Here's a way to think about it. Imagine your CPU is a master chef, and Windows is the head waiter. The head waiter decides which food order the chef is going to cook next. CPU priority? Well, that's the list of orders. And by default, pretty much every program is treated with the same level of urgency.
And this, right here, is the core of the problem. By default, Photoshop runs at normal priority. You know what that means? It means your critical, in-the-zone brushstroke has the exact same importance to Windows as a background virus scan or a random system update check. It's competing with everything. But by setting it to high priority, we're essentially giving Photoshop a VIP pass. We're telling Windows, hey, when Photoshop needs something, I want you to drop everything else and do that first. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking. You might be yelling at your screen. I know this. I can just open Task Manager, find Photoshop.exe, and set the priority to high myself. And you know what? You're absolutely right. That totally works. But it has one critical, super frustrating flaw.
That setting? It's temporary. It doesn't get saved anywhere. The second you close Photoshop or restart your computer, poof, that priority setting is gone. It resets right back to normal. And having to remember to do that manually every single time you launch the program, that's not a solution. It's just another annoying task. We need something permanent.
And that, my friends, brings us to the real solution. We are going to create a permanent VIP pass for Photoshop, one that ensures it always gets the resources it needs every single time you open it totally automatically. We're going to use a powerful and kind of hidden feature inside Windows called Image File Execution Options, or IFEO for short. It's part of the Windows Registry, which you can think of as the master control panel for your entire computer. Now, IFEO was originally designed for developers to debug programs, but we can hijack it to tell Windows to apply special rules to an application every single time it launches. So, by using IFEO, we can create a rule specifically for Photoshop.exe. We can tell Windows, hey, listen up. Every single time you see this program starting, I want you to automatically assign it high CPU priority. It's a true set it and forget it fix that tackles the problem right at the source. No more daily resets, ever. All right, time to get practical. Let's get our hands dirty. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to apply this fix. We've got two methods, a manual one for those who are comfortable tinkering, and a dead simple automated script for everyone else. Okay, for method 1, the manual edit. First, and I cannot stress this enough, this part is absolutely non-negotiable. Back up your registry before you touch anything. Seriously. Once that's done, you'll open the registry editor by typing regid in your start menu. Then you're going to navigate to the path you see on the screen. There, you'll create 2 new folders, or keys as they're called. First, Photoshop.exe, and then inside of that one, another called PerfOptions. Finally, inside PerfOptions, you'll create a new data entry called a DWRD value. Name it CpuPriorityClass and set its value to 3. That number, 3, is just the secret code for high priority.
Now, if that last slide made your head spin a little, don't worry. This is method 2, the super easy way. All you have to do is copy this single line of code you see on screen into a notepad file. Then, save that file as something like optimizeps.bat. That .bat part is crucial. It tells Windows it's a script. Then, just right-click on that file you just made and choose Run as Administrator. And that's it. It does all that complicated registry work from the last slide for you in less than a second.
Okay, so now that you've given Photoshop that VIP pass to your CPU, let's supercharge it with a few more quick tweaks. Inside Photoshop's preferences, make sure your scratch disk is set to your fastest solid-state drive with at least 50 gigs free. This gives Photoshop a fast runway to work with when RAM gets tight. Next, lower your history states from the default of 50 down to maybe 20. Every state is a snapshot of your project saved in memory, so fewer states means less RAM being used. You can also adjust cache levels based on what you do. Lower for small web designs, higher for giant photo editing. And finally, if you've got an older CPU, turn brush smoothing down to 0. It's just one less calculation your computer has to make in real time, freeing up precious power.
So let's bring this all home. The big takeaway here is that you don't necessarily need a brand new $1,000 computer just to get back into your creative flow. By forcing Windows to prioritize Photoshop, and then by making a few of these smart tweaks to how the program manages memory, you can genuinely transform its performance even on an older 8GB system. You've just taken back control of your tools. And that kind of leaves us with one last thought. We've just spent this time optimizing a single piece of software to remove a tiny point of friction, and it's a really powerful change. So it makes you wonder, what could you achieve, what could you create if you applied that same thinking to optimizing your entire creative workflow? What other tiny bits of friction are out there that you could remove to fully unleash your creativity?